Hmm? Hello?
Hello? Hello? I have a little message for you. With it being your first night of work and all,
Yeah.
well, I would keep an eye out. Just because the building is closed at night doesn't mean you're safe. But just watch your power and you'll be fine.
Alright, is there anything else?
You will die!
That was weird. Alright, I should still probably check. Let's see. Nope. Nope! Welcome. Today we're discovering Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's get real right from the start though. You all already know what this game is. I know what it is, you know what it is, my great-grandfather knows what it is, and he doesn't know who I am anymore. You're not here to discover anything. You're here to watch me cry as I get jump scared, aren't you? Aren't you? You're sick. But there's always a chance that one of you hasn't discovered this game and I've just really insulted you and assumed the worst of you, so I apologize. Let's begin. Okay. Five Nights at Freddy's is, at its core, a resource management horror game. You play as the night watchman at a restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's sort of a Chuck E. Cheese if the animatronics were simultaneously way higher tech and way worse cared for. You begin your first night and another guard calls you over the phone with a pre-recorded message letting you know about your new job. I need to keep the animatronics out of my office or I will die. Now here's what I mean by resource management. Everything you do uses power. Looking at your security camera, turning on the hallway lights, closing your doors, they all use power. And the doors keep draining power as they remain closed. Even if you sit in the dark and do nothing, your power will slowly drain. So you need to keep track of the animatronics while also making sure you don't run out of power or there's nothing to stop Freddy coming to get you. The first night is fairly simple, so you move right along to the second night, where the other security guard fills you in on some more stuff about your job, including the details of the fourth animatronic, Foxy. You need to balance checking the camera on Pirate's Cove as often as possible by watching for Bonnie and Chica at your doors, or else Foxy will get bored and come for your booty. The new mechanic is stressful, but nothing too difficult to handle. It's the third day that brings everything to another level. From here on, there's no new mechanics. The animatronics just get more aggressive, and in my opinion, the power drains faster each night, but I can't prove that. The other guard keeps leaving you messages each night, clearly stressed out with the job, but seeming to manage. That is until the fourth night when he says it's his last message as you hear the animatronics pounding on the doors. Instead of his call, on the fifth night you hear a deep, garbled noise after the phone rings, further heightening the creepiness of the situation. Now, any reasonable person might ask, how is FNAF scary? Yes, jump scares will do as their name implies and make you jump, but that's the second laziest type of horror behind pointless excessive gore. It ends up becoming scary for three reasons, in my opinion. Firstly, they're animatronics. They fall into the uncanny valley as something that is clearly not alive, and yet it moves and seems to be watching us. Secondly, the atmospheres you play. There is no soundtrack in the game. Instead, your ears are constantly assaulted by slow, creepy laughter, unidentified noises of all kinds, and sometimes the scrambled laughter. The sound keeps you on edge as you play. Finally, the resource management is what makes the game the scariest. You have to put so much focus into jumping back and forth from light to door screen to light to screen in this endless loop. You get caught in the motions of trying to get each one right so that when the jump scare comes, you're not ready. It also leaves you with a feeling of dread that you can't escape that mounts with each cycle that somewhere in there you made a mistake. Did you wait too long after checking the light? Have you spent too long on the screen? Should you have checked the other door first? Do you have enough power? By the time the jump scare happens, you've been anticipating it for so long that it's eaten away inside of you and left you helpless to it. That assumes you didn't think you were doing perfectly well, and clearly you weren't. Regular viewers will notice that I usually spend most of my time talking about the story of the games I discover. Well, to put it simply, the story behind the FNAF franchise is so convoluted and no one can fully agree on it anymore, I'm not even sure developer Scott Cawthon himself knows it at this point. If you want to go out and try and decode what to believe for yourself, I would suggest watching Game Theory's take on the games. For the sake of discovering this game, though, let's look at the story that is clearly within just this first game. All around the halls are newspaper clippings on the walls describing the murders of 5 children in the restaurant. A worker dressed as one of the characters lured the children into a back room and their bodies were never found. Later, the suits began to ooze blood and mucus and stink, being compared to reanimated corpses. The locations were closed down, with no companies wishing to buy out the franchise due to the negative press. It's clear from playing the game that the animatronics are haunted, but again, I won't embark into speculation on what happened and leave that to the experts. Finally, there are 3 secrets in this game. The first is Night 6. That's right, even though the game is called Five Nights at Freddy's, this security guard is insane enough to put in some overtime. At the end of the night, you are given a bonus check with some overtime and the title Employee of the Month, probably because you're the only still living member of staff at this point. The second secret is unlocked upon beating Night 6. You can set up a custom night, setting the aggression levels of all the animatronics. There is a challenge among the community known as 420 mode, where you set all of the animatronics' aggression levels to 20 and try your hardest to survive. Not happening. It is insanely difficult to the point where the creator did not actually think it was possible to beat 420 mode until a few players proved him wrong. There are 3 possible outcomes from playing custom nights. The most common is that at the end of the day you will receive a pink slip being fired from the company for tampering with the animatronics' general unprofessionalism and odor. If you are literally insane and somehow beat 420 mode, which will inevitably come down to luck, but if you somehow were to do it, you would receive a 3rd star on the title screen. Whoopee! Finally, if you set the difficulty settings to 1987 in reference to an incident Phone Guy mentions in which an animatronic bites off the frontal lobe of someone in the restaurant, called the Bite of 87 by fans, you will receive a special screen instead of starting the game. That was the final secret, Golden Freddy. Sometimes when looking at the hallway camera, all of the posters of Freddy transform into a warped yellow version of the character with empty black eyes. If you lower your camera, Golden Freddy is waiting for you in your office. Instead of the screen going fuzzy and returning to the main menu, the jump scare you saw plays and the game completely crashes to desktop. In conclusion, do not play this game. It takes all of this tension and worry and aggravation and builds it up and then cashes it all out in a way that's just destructive to your emotions. And it'll leave you upset and miserable in a way that is detrimental, unlike Papers, Please. If you're still curious about this game and you still want to see it, go watch Markiplier torture himself with it. And then for the story, go watch Game Theory, but don't play it yourself. It's not worth it. And whatever horror game is coming up next week for me, it can't be worse than this one.